And we're back, everyone, only on It's Last Call. Last Call of the Alcohol, only on the Last Call podcast.com. And joining me here once again, we love having him on the show. Last week he was doing some wheeling and dealing. He was working on some scoops, and now we have the full. He's here to share everything of what he knows, and we're going to break down exactly the wild last 7 days of college football. I give you once again from College Football Nation. I give you Nino Brown. So Nino, let's start off here. James Franklin, you're fired. That's right. We thought it might happen. Like, yeah, maybe, maybe not. Who knows? And then last week it came down. They fired his ass, and after starting off 4-3 this season, let's start off with how much still is it a shock that you're a coach who last year had him in the college football playoff semifinals? They fired.
I mean, 3 weeks ago they were about 3 minutes away from probably being the number one team in the country. But I've been on the fence about this for a while. Like these last couple of days, I'm like, did they do the right thing? Did they not do? I think it was necessary. I think at this point, the powers that be are starting to realize, the average fan is he can't win the big one, the ones that count. Yeah, he's got 100-something wins since he's been there, but what is he against? The top tier teams, 4-16, I think it is, against the top 10 teams, or 1-8 against the top 5 teams. So like, even in the Big Ten record against Big Ten teams, he's not good against games that matter and against the creme de la creme. So yeah, you gotta get him gone. Like this is like supposed to be the year, right? This is supposed to be the year that Drew Allen was supposed to be the Heisman. This was they came into the season as most people's favorite to be national champion or be Final Four in the college playoff, and they lost to a team that had a guy that was in charge of making the plays at UCLA for 3 days. And then you lost to Northwestern. Like, I understand Allen, it was just a culmination of bad on top of bad on top of bad, and it was time to change the culture, change the monkey on the back of big game. Is Penn State going to win this one? They needed to change the manuscript here.
So let's first talk about Franklin. What is his legacy? Because you look at we think of Penn State now as like, oh yeah, we're everyone with darlings and blue bloods of college football. He took over. People forget they were on probation. They were still dealing with the Penn State child sex abuse scandal. They were ineligible to play in bowl games. Bill O'Brien has said, yep, I'm out here, peace, bitches, after 2 seasons. So for what he's done, for literally building the program and everything, what is his legacy as the Penn State head football coach?
I mean, he'll be one of the better ones. I mean, you got 104 wins, Penn State, in what, 10 years, 12 years, whatever it was there. I know he kind of took over and missed the end of all of that drama. I mean, Bill O'Brien kind of took all that on his back, after the Joe Pa era there. So, yeah, he had a little bit of that still left behind it. And, but they went from being 7-6 his first couple of years to being there, and then they had a little lull in the middle. But I think his legacy will be, unfortunately, I think they're going to always have that asterisk near that 104, wins, and it's always going to be. Franklin was a good coach, but he just never could win the big one. Like I think that's where he's going to fall. And everybody was surprised. Oh, $50 million, the second biggest buyout ever. I couldn't believe that Pat Kraft actually pulled the trigger. There was 300 million more reasons why James Franklin had to go. Adidas money. Adidas says, 50 million, we got you. We'll cover James Franklin. Don't worry about his legacy. We'll cover that $50 million buyout, but you better hit this one on the head. They just invested a big chunk of their money into Penn State athletics, and right after that contract, we got 3 straight losses. So I think Adidas played a big part in that. But as far as James Franklin's legacy, I'm telling you, it's going to always be. He was a good coach. He got a lot of guys to the next level. He developed a lot of players. Just never could win the big one.
So where does he go from here? Because that's now, you look at him on the coaching market, and it's like, okay, well, how many teams are going, okay, can't win a big one, but his team's finished in his last, let's say 8 years, last 10 years, 7, 8, 17, 9, 2 seasons during the COVID era where everything went to hell in a handbasket.
Right.
7, 13, and 5th overall. I mean, if you're UCLA, Oklahoma State, Arkansas, Virginia Tech, maybe even Florida, you're going, hey, James Franklin, come on down. So could he be coaching next year right away? Like, could you see a scenario where there's a lot of teams out there looking at James Franklin going, hey, Penn State, they're idiots. We understand. We'll take you in a heartbeat.
Oh, I think this guy's going to be right off the market instantaneously. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be, a top SEC team, because I think there's going to be some more pieces that are going to fall right off the rip. But if I was Virginia Tech, I would keep calling his phone. And once I got him on the phone, I wouldn't let him get off the phone. Like, I think James Franklin at Virginia Tech is the guy. He would change the culture, the program around. Hey, 9-10 wins at Virginia Tech. They're going to be happy real quick because it's been a long time since they've been that relevant. I would be surprised if Virginia Tech hasn't already sent them a message. Hey, sir, we'd like to have a conversation. Yeah, James Franklin is going to be 100% coaching football in 2026. Guaranteed.
Do you blame how much blame should he get for Drew Aller and never developing a quarterback? And is that something he can fix, or is that something that it's, well, any good quarterback, do you really want to play in the cold and Penn State against, oh yes, Oregon, Michigan, Ohio State? Yeah, I'll go south. I'll go West Coast. There's beaches and nice palm trees and warm weather and hot women. There's none of that stuff really can friggin', Happy Valley, Pennsylvania. But it's not when you think of, Beaver, of Penn State. It's not like, oh yeah, warm weather. No, it's freaking cold as hell.
Yeah,
dreary at times. So is he to blame for the quarterback, or is this something that is just, if it is what it is at Penn State, you don't really get good quarterbacks?
I was going to say, I mean, before him, there really wasn't these, stuff. Who, off Meyer, you would think of, since you've been alive, Chris, like, who was the best Penn State quarterback in your time era? I would
Kerry
have to say
Collins?
I was going to say him, Kerry Collins. That was my answer, right? And then who since? You know what I mean? Like
Christian Hackenberg. I mean, it's
Right,
it's like, oh god,
yeah, right. But then, like, at the next level, he was right. That he was a perennial backup. Like, there's never been a quarterback that he's kind of like that. Penn State, not just for James Franklin, but Penn State, even Joe Pa. Like, what quarterbacks that they really developed that went on and killed it? Yeah, Kerry Collins is top 30 when it comes to passing yards in the NFL. But outside of Kerry Collins in my lifetime, and I'm 40 plus, that's the best I've seen. So I don't know if it's all James Franklin, but maybe a little bit falls on Drew Aller as well. Like, maybe all the expectation that we had for Drew Aller, and we've seen it all. Like, he wouldn't be the first case of a guy that we thought was going to be a Heisman candidate, a guy we thought probably be a first, quarterback off the board, possibly top 5 pick. Sometimes they just don't have enough to make it to the, to put the pieces together. They just don't have enough glue to figure it all out. Like, sometimes it is what it is. I think it's a combination of both. I think Aller is also another one of those quarterbacks that kind of listens to the outside noise a little bit, and I think it gets in his head. He has all the tools, but we haven't seen him sharpen all of the tools. Right? We've been waiting kind of him to take the next step for the past year and a half. And my biggest thing with Drew Aller is just like when the bullets stop flying, man, when the games count. Just like James Franklin, when the bullets stop flying, when the game counts, they kind of crumble. And you don't want any of that out of your head coach or your quarterback. So I think they both have the blame. I don't think it's solely on one of those guys at all.
You mentioned, earlier during the segment, the team, people are getting pissed. Oh, you couldn't win a big game. So here's the question, then. I mean, when he plays Ohio State in 2024, when he's playing them again and losing to Michigan in 2023, and to both those teams again in 2022, is it a coaching thing, or is it just he's running into teams that have a lot more talent, and if they can print money, both those places? And let's not forget Oregon, once again, another school that literally prints money, can get almost now anybody they want.
I don't know if it's a talent thing, man. If you look at some of the defensive studs that Penn State's been putting in the NFL the past couple of years since Franklin's, has been there. That's talent. I mean, they've been with these teams right to the very end, but it just when it gets to the end, it seems like I've always said this one thing about Brian Kelly. I know you're not a big Brian Kelly fan, and some of the guys at CFB Nation aren't Brian Kelly fans, but he's never really made a coaching decision to lose a game like Mario Cristobal has. I feel like James Franklin is one of those guys that he makes bad coaching decisions at the end of games. Like maybe, his OC called the play and he, overseen it or whatever it may be. But I feel like James Franklin he'll lose you a game. The ones that, the ones you need. So like, I feel like it's coaching. I feel like maybe he just needs to be somewhere else. Like, it was a quick run at Vanderbilt, and then he went to Penn State and was there for quite a long time. Maybe he just needs to change the scenery. Maybe that change of scenery, like we've seen it with other athletes, and coaches. They finally, all right, the pressure's not on me. I can just do my thing, and then all of a sudden, here comes success again, and it's in a different form. Them not winning when they had loaded lineups, especially with Jim Knowles as your defensive coordinator. And in the past few years, they've had stud defensive staffs and defenses in general. That, like, you're watching Michigan win a national champion. You're watching Ohio State win a national championship. Now, I understand one of those years Ohio State spent the bag. You know what I mean? But you were losing to them when the bag wasn't being spent, and they were right there to win it, and you weren't. And then the one year you had the best season you were going to have, you choked down the stretch. And we kind of saw that permission happen earlier in games like USC, Oregon. Like those games down the stretch, both him and Alec kind of choked it. So it's like,
which I get and I understand, but it's it's one thing, but when you have Sean Clifford at quarterback, and then you turn around and play Michigan. Let's see.
You had Will.
They have J.J. McCarthy, first-round draft pick. They have, let's see, against Ohio State, C.J. Stroud. I mean, he's coming to a gunfight with pistols, and they're coming to a gunfight with a howitzer. I mean, I'll take the howitzer over the pistol any day of the week.
Well, how many other quarterbacks in the country? There's 130 other teams besides Michigan and Ohio State where the quarterbacks are studs. You had Will Levis, but due to Sean Clifford's parents better because they donated more money to the school, you let Will Levis walk away. Well
I don't know if Will Levis is better, but he's supposed to anyway.
I bet you Will Levis would have been better than Sean Clifford. If you look at college, the first year Will Levis went to Kentucky, he balled out. Then they changed OCs. He got hurt. It was a different story. I mean, I'm a Will Levis guy, so I'll be more defensive. But he's got better numbers in 6 games than Cam Ward does. So sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the other side. You're recruiting the guys, though, with James Franklin. He was recruiting those quarterbacks. There were other quarterbacks you could run out and got. You decided you wanted to run with Sean Clifford and go out and Bo Pabillo looks pretty damn good in Missouri, doesn't he? I mean, dude threw an interception for like 6 games.
About that. I mean, Bo Pabillo is good because he has maybe the greatest running back in the country. And the number 2 running back, he's also pretty good. And that defense and offensive line looks like they're going to churn out NFL caliber players. Like,
but that defense, the first 4 weeks of the year,
I know
will end
people
up
in Penn
40
State
points.
really want to, tar and feather, get the pitchforks, James Franklin. Let's not start throwing out Bo Prabula, the better quarterback of Drew Aller. No, Bo Prabula basically is a guy that, you give SEC talent around him and make sure that he doesn't have to win the game. Bo Prabula could do it. When you ask him to win the game, he can't do it. So let's not go there.
Winning you games?
He's won because they get up ahead because of the running. I mean, let's face it.
No, I'm asking you. Is Drew Aller winning them games?
Yes, I think Drew Aller could win those games that Bo Prabula
No, that's not what I'm saying. Is Drew Aller winning Penn State? Was he winning Penn State games?
Yes.
Which games was he winning for them? Because I've watched a lot of games. I don't see him going out there and winning games for them. I see that running game winning games, and he's just controlling it. When it came down to having him winning games, he throws up on his feet. When they put it in his lap, he throws up on his feet.
Okay, that was Bo Prabula, though. So, I mean, I don't get – so, once again, we're arguing apples and oranges here. This wasn't like he had, C.J. Stroud went, I'm taking Sean Clifford over C.J. Stroud. This was Bo Prabula, Drew Aller. It's like having a ham and cheese sandwich or a tuna fish sandwich. Neither one is gourmet food. It's just, okay. Which tastes a little bit better? I'll go with the ham and cheese. No, I'll go with tuna. I don't know. I'll flip a coin. But that brings me to our next topic here because we're running around circles. Who the hell is going to take over this job? I mean, right now, here's the lineup. I know there's no chance, but this is probably right now that if you're Pat Kraft, you're probably calling Alabama and Kalen DeBoer, hey, we won't run you out of town every time you lose, to Ohio State. Like, we want to do it in Alabama every time you lose a game. Or he's probably calling Mike Elgo at Texas A&M going, hey, we got a boatload of money. You should come over here. Or he's probably even going to Ryan Day going, hey, if you don't win the national championship, we won't run you out of town. He's not going to Dan Lanning because I know he has no chance. But his number one option right now is he's trying to get Freeman from Notre Dame. So if you're Pat Kraft, who do you shoot your shot at? Like, we'll get to who's reasonable and and sort of like likely. But right now, I'm putting you in the driver's seat, and you are Pat Kraft, and you're looking around, and you're going, "Damn, I better hit a home run, or else I'll be the next person on the chopping block." Who does Penn State? Who, if you were Penn State, do you turn to that you could hopefully persuade to come as the next head football coach?
Well, you got to go for the home runs, and you got $300 million backing in Adidas. So, yeah, I'm calling Nick Saban off the rip just to make sure Nick's cool with what he's got going on. You got it. You have to. Nick, you want to come here 3-4 years, probably win a national championship and go back and just do whatever you got to do. If you don't want to. I just want to make sure you're content not coaching anymore. And then if Nick says no, Marcus Freeman's next on the list. Young up-and-coming guy. Change the game. You got all the money to persuade him. You got a bunch of talent. You're in a big conference, not an independent where you play cupcakes. And then after Marcus Freeman, you probably have to tuck it between your legs a little bit. Make the call down in North Carolina and say, Manny, I'm sorry. I know. Probably should have kept you around, but how we doing? How's everything going? Because what he's got, he turned Duke around, got them a quarterback in the portal, stud, and he's familiar with Penn State. He was there a few years ago. I don't think Eli Drinkwitz would be going, leaving Missouri. I don't think Clark Lee. I mean, maybe they make that call. The guy at Iowa State who's had a lot of success recently, and Matt Campbell is the guy I think you might want to make a call to as well. And And PJ Fleck is a name that I like in Minnesota. Like, you got to understand, I said this on CBS, the resources that Minnesota has compared to the resources that Penn State had are on a total different level. I'm not saying Minnesota's out there contending for national championships or for the playoff, but they are in every Big Ten game they play. They are in. They battle right down to the nitty gritty. He's been putting out running backs left and right at Minnesota, and just 1,000-yard backs. They put linebackers almost every other year in the NFL. I think PJ Fleck is the guy that I would, if the big names aren't interested and you can't persuade some guys, PJ Fleck is the guy I think that he's going to get a phone call. And then a guy who I think I might have mentioned when the first coaching, axes got dropped. His name's not being mentioned around at all because, he's kind of tied to Iowa, or he's supposed to be the successor, to Kirk Ferentz in a year or two or whatever it may be. But Pat Fitzgerald got a bag. He's chilling already. You got that settlement from Northwestern. He's a great coach. I think that there's a chance that Pat Fitzgerald also gets a call from Penn State and put himself in this coaching pool here.
And behind this guy, as you mentioned, it's Marcus Freeman, it's Nick Saban. I floated out to the draft professors. You should call Lane Kiffin, but as one of the draft professors quoted eloquently, there's no way in hell Lane is moving to friggin' Happy Valley and staying there. He probably would rather hang himself.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they would try to make a call Lane Kiffin, but I think there's a couple other teams that are going to probably be calling Lane Kiffin. And if the trajectory keeps going the way they're playing, it's going to be hard to get him out of Ole Miss if they're in the, running into the playoffs. You might see a Curt Cignetti deal for Lane Kiffin if Ole Miss is running deep in the playoff.
Matt Rule basically said he doesn't want to talk about the job, but he mentions how much he loves Penn State. My question, though, is if you're Penn State, is that a smart hire? I mean, I like Matt Rule, but is he an upgrade or is he James Franklin 2.0? It's like, all right, we're getting the same guy who can't beat, the big dogs, never wins the big game, but he's a Penn State guy.
He's a Penn State guy. He's won in Pennsylvania, right, when he was at Temple. He's going to probably gain and keep that local talent. The home talent's going to stay. He's probably going to keep those recruits. They're not going to lose those. But yes, I agree. I think he's in the same boat as a James Franklin. I like Matt Rule more because normally in year 3 of the Matt Rule era, we start to see the needle move dramatically. And we're seeing that with Nebraska this season, right? They're in top 25 or right there. They're looking like they got a top QB. They got a run game that's dominant. Defense is prevalent again. So, yeah. I think he would give you the same product as James Franklin did. And I do believe that he's happy where he is. But when you say things, it's not how you say them. It's kind of people say things to kind of leave people hanging, right? When you say this is a destination job, is this your destination job? Or is this a destination job for somebody else? Because you didn't say this was your destination job. You just said it was a destination job. Is it a destination job for the next guy? Or is this your destination? You know what I mean? Like he just it was a very open door answer to it. He could have said, my destination job is Lincoln, Nebraska. He just said, this is a destination job, Lincoln, Nebraska. He's a smart fellow. But I think, he's staying in Nebraska. His wife has a business that she opened in there that's very successful right now.
And also, by the way, he has a $56.28 million buyout. So, yeah, I don't know if these are going to right now. So, what can Pat Kraft do? And how much does he go? Does he just, basically put nuts on the table, go to Marcus Freeman, go, hey, 10 years, $200 million, let's just do this.
Yeah, he's probably going to. That's got to be, after the Nick Saban call, he's going to put these guys in, these top tier guys that he's going to go after, the Freemans, if he goes after a Lane or if he goes after an Eli, it's going to be, you're going to get 12, 13 million a year for 10 years and we're going to do the damn thing. Like, He has to. He has to make the fix because we're already seeing the recruits. Players haven't hit the portal yet. They haven't left. Players on the team have stayed put, but we're already seeing 3-4. They lost the number one recruited running back in the country for the 2027 class. Already decommitted. They had a wide receiver from the next class decommitted 4-star. They're losing guys quickly with the James Franklin firing, so they need to figure it out or put the rumor out there to stop the bleed and put a Band-Aid on. Yeah, it's going to be a bag, and whoever takes over Penn State is going to be a top 5 paid coach in the country.
So if you are Pat Kraft, how much time do you have, and how much are you sweating? Like, okay, as I said, I need to get a coach sooner rather than later, at least before the transfer portal in January. God, and whoever I want to get, they know that I want them. I'm going to have to pay big money. So, again, what is the deadline that they need to announce a new coach, and what's for them? What is the floor of a Pat Kraft in terms of like, well, this is the lowest I can go in terms of my coaching choices?
Ooh. So I don't know if you can. There's no in-season coaching hires, or you can't steal a coach mid-year, right? Like that's not something that coaches can't just quit and go sign to another school mid-season, correct?
I don't know. This is the new era of NIL. It's also money to pay for the lawsuit. Hey, what you can do whatever the hell you want. If this was Ohio State, and they decide, oh yeah, Ryan Day's gone, we need to get a new coach. You think they let money and like lawsuits stop them? No, they'd go out, get anybody, including probably like Dan Lanning. Just go, look, here's a boatload of money, literally a boat of money. Just come here, we'll get the lawyer. Screw the NCAA, screw Oregon. We'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. Screw the courts. If we need to bribe somebody to get you off, we'll bribe them.
That throws your program though back like forever. Like who's gonna those kids that you're getting the coach? Are they really gonna trust the coach? You're gonna quit on me mid-season because somebody else sent you a bag? Yeah.
Hey, if they're also getting a bag, kids are mercenaries. Also, they're like, oh wait, yeah, we have objections. Wait, how much are we getting for NIL? Oh, that much, Coach. We understood your situation. It was an emotional situation. We support you. Just make sure that NIL money doesn't bounce.
I don't know. I don't know if the mid-season thing would happen. I would think like January 1. You have to figure it out by January 1 on who your coach is going to be. Like announced. Has to. Because the portal's right around the corner, right?
That's right.
But you can't these guys that he's going to go after. I would assume are going to be in the right there for your conference championship, or to possibly be in the playoff. You're not going after a team that just went 3-10. That's not something you're going to be doing when it comes to head coach and hire at Penn State. So there's a small window. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of backdoor channeling and phone calls made, but I think you got it. When bowls end and the new year starts, you have to come out with fireworks. Happy to you. And then get the ball rolling. We're going to hit this portal in the signing day.
Well, one guy who is definitely cashed in no matter what. Curt Cignetti, ladies and gentlemen. He's not going to Penn State. He's sticking at Indiana. But damn it, he's getting paid. 8 years, $11.6 million per year. Contract runs through 2033. Hello. For a guy who's turning 64 years old, this is easy to say. He will probably retire at Indiana. And by the way, if he gets fired without cause, it's guaranteed $92.5 million. Hello, ching ching.
Yeah. I mean, wow, good for Curt. I mean, Google me. I now make top 3 money annually in college football, right? It's not just I win games. I get bags as well. I like them locking him up. They don't want to lose him. because I think they know it's not just Penn State that's going to be calling. It's going to be a lot of these big teams when the smoke settles that are going to be out there, Florida's and Michigan States as well. I have a funny feeling those guys will be moving on to greener pastures. So yeah, lock your guy up. My only concern here, Chris, is in the big stage. After Mendoza leaves and goes to the NFL, are we going to live this Mike Norvell game of we're just going to keep going to the portal and hope to God I keep hitting? Because outside of James Madison, when you took Tony Celcio, right, guy you had nobody knew, and got him to and his sixth season, in college football, got him to almost 3,000 yards passing, and then Jordan McLeod, boom, James Madison was blowing up with Jordan McLeod, and they were cooking. Top offense in the country, one of the top scoring defenses in the country. You went to Indiana, you hit the portal. But you brought a lot of your guys. If you hit a home run in the portal with your running back and your quarterback, well, you brought a lot of the guys from James Madison with you. And this year, you got lucky with Hemby and obviously Mendoza again. But this is a very pendulum dangerous game you play when you live and die by the portal. We've seen what happened with Florida State the year prior. Yes, they're having success, or they were having success with Thomas Castellanos. But last year, when your portal guy was gone and shit hit the fan and you had to get another portal guy and you went to a guy who was going to his fourth team in DJU, it didn't work. So when you live and die by the portal, so can your team. We'll have to wait and see if, Curt Cignetti is going to be telling us again, Google me or not. But I think in the end that made the right decision. They gave him a bag, but like you said, in this day and era, the NIL, the way coaches are getting paid, the way bigger teams who are supposed to be having more success are cutting coaches, they had to give him money. They had to pay the guy, pay the piper. They're the top 5 team in the country. You put Indiana on a map. This is a basketball school. Now they're a football school. They got a mascot again. Yeah, Curt was getting bad.
Yeah, you're just worried because you're looking around now going, wait a minute here. Dan Lanning's only getting paid $6 million a year. He's now going to Phil Knight in Oregon going, hey, you know what? Motherfucker, I want stock options. Screw this just $11 million. I want stock options. I want my kids to get jobs on Nike for life. You want to keep me here. God damn, you back up that Brinks truck. You then back up a second Brinks truck. Because God damn it, I will leave here now. Hey, Pat Kraft is calling me. He's making a great deal. And as you said, Lane Kiffin now is just going to his agent going, we can probably get $20 million this season. Look what I did at Ole Miss. If I could do that at Ole Miss, Florida's going to be desperate. Clemson, Florida State. Oh, you might get $25 million per year for Lane Kiffin to walk through that door. Hey, we should call. Maybe I'll even go to Happy Valley if they pay $30 million per year. Hey, enough money here, and even I can maybe build a boat in a small little, private lake, and then I could be on my boat, heat conditioned, swimming in my pool of money. There's going to be certain coaches looking at this deal with Cignetti going, oh, you got that.
Yeah. As we sit here and we talk more about Penn State and the money and, people getting axed, a name just popped in my head, Chris, and I think, it would set college football upside down. And no, it's not John Gruden or Urban Meyer. What if Penn State called Dabo?
Yeah, but Dabo hates the portal. Dabo hates doing transfers. So Adidas could probably go, you need to get people transferred. No, I don't do transfers. Only homeschool. That's why I'm saying, if you're Penn State, you just go to Lane Kiffin. You go, look, we'll buy you a boat. We'll fill the boat with money. And if you need to, there's a couple of lakes here. We'll make sure the boat is heat conditioned, and you can stay on your boat. We'll have even a little helicopter pad. You can fly in and out. Just we'll pay all of this for you to come to Happy Valley.
I guess we'll have to see how the season ends because, like I said, if they're doing this with their backup quarterback, right? Who's doing well, but it's still their backup. Imagine if it was all systems to go where they would be. They're the top 5 team in the country. If they're in the playoff and they're going for the championship, I don't think Lane Kiffin's going anywhere at all. Now, if something takes a turn in the next couple of weeks and now all of a sudden they're not in the playoff hunt, well, hello there, Lane Kiffin. Welcome to Happy Valley. But I think if Ole Miss and the Rebels are winning, I can't see Lane Kiffin going anywhere this year. If anywhere, he's going to Florida before he's going to Penn State.
Oh, I agree. But again, if all of a sudden if they go to like $20 million, you got to start per year. You got to start looking going. Do I really hate Happy Valley that much? I can make it work. Get a private boat. Make sure there's a helipad. They'll pay for it.
You don't think these school ADs are going to be sitting around looking at Penn State going, if you stop paying people $20 million a year, but we're going to have a conversation all of us together. Because now all these schools are about to get bent over.
Yeah, and as the great philosopher comedian Ricky Vergeri once said, I don't care. Speaking of I don't care, to that quote, Nino, I know he's your friend, but I don't care. Bill Belichick at UNC is a disaster. It's 100%. Now like parents want him out, alumni want him out. There's certain the president wants him out, the AD.
Allegedly,
there's still board members who are like, no, we got to keep him on. This is what the hell happened. Nino, I know he's your friend, so you got to tell us what the hell is going on,
Chris,
in UNC.
I've checked out. This is a soap opera I don't want to watch anymore. I mean, just hold on, my phone just went off. Jordan Hudson entered the transfer portal. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. Like, they went from the Bill Belichick Hulu documentary is not happening, it's happening, it's not happening, it's happening. You can't post anything New England Patriots for Drake May at the raw social media, nothing. It's just a joke. Like he made I've never seen a faster fall off in my life when it came to a coach ever. This dude took 2 steps off the cliff and fell flat on his face. It's insane. You got Mike Lombardi going to Saudi Arabia, trying to get that Saudi money 2 weeks before the season started, for a fundraiser. Like, it's just crazy. The guys he went out and got, half of them aren't living up to the standard of what they were prior to coming here. It's a joke. The girlfriend thing's a joke. At this point, like, I don't know if the school wants them out. It's all alleged. But the problem is you fire Bill Belichick now and it's over. The kids that did go there for Belichick, they're gone. But they're gone anyway next year, no matter what. So this is do you cut your losses? You know what I mean? Or you eat the money because you start from scratch again next year. I don't see Bill Belichick being in Chapel Hill next year. I don't see Bill Belichick being a head coach anywhere, probably ever again. He might be a defensive coordinator somewhere in the NFL, but I don't see him being a head coach ever again. I think the gig is up. I think the I can do whatever I want and turn lemons into lemonade mindset is still there, but it's not the same anymore. You're dealing with a whole different ballgame, and you've never, adjusted. We saw that at the end of New England, and we're just consistently seeing that now. Like it's a joke. I feel bad for the kids. I hear kids. Kids are retiring. They're running back. That after everybody got hurt, he was the kid who had a great game. Hood, right? The kid retires the next week after all this BS. Like, parents are getting told by Belichick and them to pretty much go eat shit. Like it's terrible. It's a toxic locker room. It's toxic, facility right now. So yeah, this is over and done with. I don't know what happened, Chris. It's gross. This is the one that the relationship that should have never happened. This was the I'm drunk, you're gross, let's go. And you woke up in the morning chewing it at your elbow to get out of there. And that's what UNC is doing right now, chewing off their elbow to get out of this.
This ties into the previous segments we had where with Franklin, it was Adidas who came and called and said, "Hey, we got to fire James Franklin," and they forced that. With Penn State now, you've talked about how they're driving the boat, their way, and you wonder if Penn State will tell the rest of the league, "Hey, screw you, we're going to pay whatever we want." UNC started this, you could argue, with the AD didn't want Bill Belichick. He was setting his sights and trying to negotiate with Kenny Dillingham. But politicians, got involved. There were UNC board members who got involved, and they shoehorned this in there. At what point, if you're an athletic director, and I'm looking at Virginia Tech, UCLA, Arkansas, at what point do they have to start telling boosters and all these NIL people, look, please shut the hell up. We understand you're paying, but you can't pick coaches. Look at UNC, for God's sakes. When we let you people pick these people, it turns out to be tits up. Like, will UNC be now the rallying cry for ADs to go, all right, all you boosters, just please shut the F up and let us pick the coaches?
It gives them a little more leverage. But, this was also a Bill Belichick backdoor channel and calling people at UNC, saying, man, I'll come down there. My dad, I remember being in this and that. You know how Bill is. He's going to find a way to get his own. And then, when Bill calls Mike and says, hey, Mike, what's up? I want to go down to Chapel Hill. I want to start something down there. And Michael Jordan, is on your side. And you got, Julius Peppers, Bouch, all these guys. They all bring Bill in there, change, the culture, change everything, change the landscape. You kind of get, pulled left and right. But yeah, I think you have to let them sit at the table, but put a bib on them, put a binky in their mouth, and just tell them to shut up. Let them sit at the table. Let them act like, yes, you guys have a lot of say, a lot of pull in the conversation. Oh, you want this guy? We'll bring him in for, a talk. But you got to play the part. Like, I think ADs have to play the part, but I think ADs have a little bit more leverage right now with this disaster. We don't want to be the next Tar Heels. You can always say, we don't want to be the next UNC.
Is this the ugliest it's going to get, or could it get worse now, where you hear that UNC suspended a coach, secondary coach, for possible recruiting violations?
Yeah, he gave sideline tickets to family members. Illegal. Yeah, it could get worse, especially if the losses keep piling up.
Yeah, because I was going to say, UNC is going to try to nickel and dime their way out of this. So when you mentioned before, court cases and all this stuff, could we see Bill take UNC to court and go, F this, I want the full $20 million. No, bitch, I had to stay here for this season. You give me my $20 million goddamn dollars, I'll take you to court. I don't care. Or Jordan Hudson will definitely go, I don't care. We're taking him for everything. Sue them. I don't care if they bleed Carolina blue. We want the last nickel.
If you notice, Carolina's been very, very, very strategic, very, dotting the T's and I's when they need to say something. They only say something when it's necessary to say something. They're not. They know that there's a chance that if the falling out falls out and they have to cut ties with Bill, there's going to be a buyout. They don't want the legal shit afterwards. They want it to be a cut me and go. I'll put the Band-Aid on it and we'll move. I don't want to, I got to go in and get 47 stitches and 16 staples because, it was an ugly end to this all. So I think that North Carolina has been doing everything they need to. All the verbiage has been correct, and they've been just following that dotted line all the way down. But I do think it's going to get much worse, Chris. I think like when the L's come, that's how it is. When you're winning shit that's not supposed to happen, people forget about. Things that probably would be a big deal. It's no big deal. when you're losing and you're losing bad, and now you're a laughing stock, well, now all the skeletons come out. People start talking. Whether it's true or not, doesn't matter. It comes out, and it looks ugly, and then the little snowball turns into an avalanche, and then it's time. So I think it's going to get real ugly real fast.
Let's talk about some positive stuff because we're going to be positive. So I'm positive at the ACC. I have no idea who the final two teams are. Right now, your top 6 teams that are undefeated just as of now in conference play. Miami, we expected that. SMU, I kind of expected that. Duke, all right, we're getting a little bit weird here. Number 12, Georgia Tech. What the hell? And finally, number 18, Virginia. This is not your mother and father's ACC. This isn't even your grandparents' ACC. This is chaos right now. Clemson kind of is out. Florida State has been knocked out. What the hell is going on? Who the hell is going to represent the ACC in the conference championship game? Because 4 of these 5 teams, literally make 0 sense.
Well, I mean, Miami's 5th when you think about it because they've only had 1 conference game. We talk about easy schedules, right? And teams not being as good as advertised. The ACC, once Clemson wasn't the juggernaut that we all thought they were going to be, it was wide open. And it's kind of been wide open every single week. They keep winning, and certain teams keep winning, and certain teams keep losing. So it's making it easy for the newcomers to step up. Georgia Tech, I don't think is really a newcomer. I think they've been knocking at the door the past couple of years, and this year they just kind of figured it out. Who's going to be there at the end, Chris? I'm going to go with Miami. And I want to say Georgia Tech, but I think that they lose the last game of the year, which when it comes down to conference record will be one thing. Man.
Like this week, we got Duke versus Georgia Tech. You got 2 quarterbacks who are the most opposite of opposite. You have
one that runs and one that can throw out of the stadium.
Yeah. So, and then you look at Virginia, and you keep going. Okay, they're going to lose.
They have a cupcake schedule. I think it's Virginia and Miami, to be honest with you, in the championship.
I mean, it looks that way. I mean, yeah, but they're playing Washington State. Then they got at North Carolina. Then at California. Then at Duke. I mean, all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute here. This could, God damn it, they could actually win the rest of their games.
Yes.
And we're still not even counting out SMU, which we wrote them off. Okay, you lost to TCU. You lost to Baylor. And then all of a sudden you go, oh, wait a minute, they beat Syracuse. They beat Stanford. Let's see.
But they got to play Miami, and they already have 2 L's. I know it's not in conference play, but it's still 2 L's. So, when it comes down to being tied in conference play, then it goes to regular season record, and you got L's. 2 of them.
No, I know, but they play Miami at Gerald J. Ford Stadium in Texas. And Miami has always been known to have like one of those games where you go, yep, that is why Mario Cristobal has never won a national championship. They just throw up on themselves. So, again, it should be Miami against whoever else. But how much does this season feel like? I have no idea. I've stopped picking. I give up.
I mean, it's like that across
we could
the board.
see Georgia Tech and Duke in the finals because this is the ACC and nothing makes sense.
If you look at every conference right now, this year is kind of like every single week it's a crapshoot. Like, you're getting the best product in a long time.
Sure, but I mean, you at least know in the Big Ten, it's coming down to Oregon, Ohio State.
Now, Big 12, there's about 6 teams. I know, but Big 10 is the only one that you know. SEC, you ain't got a clue. Big 12, you ain't got a clue. ACC, ain't got a clue. And who knows the G5? Is it USF? Is it Memphis?
No, true, but the SEC, it's like you at least know who the 4 or 5 teams are. It's the usuals. This was not what the ACC had in mind. Like, okay, this might be the year Miami and Florida State. We might get our wish. Or wait a minute, if we
Yeah,
don't get
right.
over Clemson, Miami. We
Florida
might
State
have
wasn't
nipple,
supposed to be
we
anything.
might have nipple play here. If they get Duke versus Georgia Tech, there will be people in the ACC office like going, pass the whiskey, just pass the whiskey.
I mean, last year you had a chance that Syracuse was going to be there, right? They were dominant right down to the end. SMU. I mean, there was a change in the guard kind of last year. You can't even count out Pittsburgh this season. They're 2-1 in the conference, 4-2, and they've been playing really good ball.
Oh, I know, but it's still like last year. At least you had Clemson, and they've always been one of the darlings of the ACC. And it made if Clemson is happy, that means the ACC doesn't have to worry about them leaving. If this is Duke and Virginia, or Duke and Georgia Tech, or Virginia and Georgia Tech, oh, there's going to be people just drinking heavily because we're going to hear from Florida State and Clemson going, see, this is why we need to leave. You guys are screwing us.
Well, I mean, Clemson screwed themselves. You can't, you know what I mean? Like, come on, you can't blame anybody else. You screwed yourself. I don't see. When I look at schedules and things coming up, I just don't see Duke being there in the end. They already have 2 L's. They have to face Georgia Tech and Virginia in the next 4 weeks. Those are big games. SMU, again, has 2 L's. Gonna face, Miami at home, but they have Clemson this week, right? In Clemson?
Yes.
And Clemson looked pretty good this past week. I know they've been shit for the past 5 weeks, but the last couple weeks, the last week especially, they looked good. I don't know. Like for me, when I look at schedules, look the way they're playing, I feel like Miami's a juggernaut. They've only played 1 in-conference game, so like obviously the schedule looks funny in their record, but I feel like they are a juggernaut. They're just playing different ball on both sides. The trench work on Miami has the best offense and defensive line in the country, but bar none. Carson Beck, whatever you want to say, man, the dude is dialed in. They have a true freshman. Like they just check it every single box, and they're not making the mistakes. Cristobal is not making coaching mistakes. Finally, so I feel like they're a juggernaut, and they're going to be in the end. And with the way that this is why I have Virginia, okay? Because it's been almost, Chris, I want to say at least 10 years, but almost 12 years since Virginia's had a running back go for over 500 yards. Okay? They already have one this year that has over 500 yards right now. So that alone, they're on the right path. Chandler Morris, nobody wanted to believe in the kid. Oh, North Texas, whatever. The kid's balling. Tony Elliott has his team locked and loaded, and they have a nice, easy schedule for the rest of the season. I really think it's going to be Virginia, Miami in the end. But don't call out the Yellow Jackets, because I think we're going to talk about Georgia a little bit later. I think if there's a chance to get them, I think this is the year that Georgia Tech can get them. There could be a 3-way tie at the end between Miami, Virginia, and Georgia Tech, which would be crazy.
Well, we get the big game this week. It's the traditional champion for the last couple of years versus the guy that everybody in the SEC hates, but now is starting to take over. It's Ole Miss. It's Georgia. And for the first time, Ole Miss is undefeated and Georgia is not. So, all right, handicap this game for us here. Who do you like? Who's going to be the breakout player? And is there a chance that Kirby Smart and Lane Kiffin might get into a fight?
Yeah, there's a chance they could be fighting. There was a chance that come, Friday night, there'll be some hot one-liners out of both of them. We saw Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss handle the Bulldogs last year. But they're totally different teams, right? And I said at the beginning of the year, and I stand by this, I do not see a first-round pick for the first time in probably 8 years on that defensive front for Georgia. I do not see I just don't see it. And when we go down and you just go, linemen, linebackers, secondary, man, outside of CJ Allen, man, Ole Miss checks every box. Okay? What Ole Miss is good at and what Georgia's good at, battle of the Titans. Like that front line for Ole Miss, stopping that run and getting after that quarterback, they dominate. But what does Georgia do? They run the ball. That's what they have. These quarterbacks are eerily similar with Shambles and you're going to stop it. Don't have these big arms, probably going to extend the pocket with their legs and take off. But I think Shambles got a better arm. You don't just hand out, Heisman's to anybody. I know it was at, the D2 level, but a Heisman's a Heisman. They don't just hand it out to the guy coming out of Home Depot. You got to be a dude. So I think when it comes to who's got a better arm, you can facilitate. I think Shambles might have the edge here. I think Ole Miss as a team has the edge here. I'm taking Ole Miss in this one. I think Kawan Lacey is a stud. This is what they've been trying to get. This is what they wanted when they got Judkins. They couldn't keep him. A dude that could be on the field all 3 downs, can carry the load, can dual threat back. And then Penn State wishes they had Wallace third still, right? He would still be their guy. But when you go down the line, check offenses, star players for star players, numbers are eerily similar. Ole Miss is just, I don't know how they. I know it's in Georgia, right? And I get it. But how is it the disrespect of almost a 7-point underdog when you're the better ranked team, you are undefeated? Like that's gonna put a bad taste in these Rebels' mouths. I think the Rebels win again. They won last year. I think they win again, and this is gonna put them in the top 3 in the country. And this is gonna be what the Zebras and the powers that be don't want. I think this puts Georgia out of the playoff.
I want to agree with you. But at the same time, as you mentioned everything, you can argue that this might be Kirby Smart's best coaching job when you look at doesn't have the quarterback that he usually likes. Gunnar Stockton is not the kind of drop back passer that he prefers. As you said, they have some good players. I mean, CJ Allen is a stud. Yeah. I would argue that Christian Miller could sneak into the first round. He is a monster of a man at defensive tackle. They have some good pieces in the secondary with Ellis Robinson, the fourth, Dalen Everett. But yeah, this is not their usual team. They lost a lot of people to the transfer portal. They lost a lot of people to graduation. A lot of people left early for the NFL. So when you look at, Georgia and they're 5-1, they've won games against Tennessee in a thrilling overtime. Mm-hmm. They've beaten Auburn, who you could argue probably have more talent. Is it safe to say that
they beat Auburn?
Smart is right now just pulling every magic trick out of his bag?
Yeah, but is the bag endless? Is at some point when you try to pull out of the hat, there's something there. So that Auburn game, for whatever it may be, man, they don't call that a fumble, and that's a touchdown. Which my eyes, I think it should have been. We're talking. It's a whole different ballgame. It's a whole different ballgame. The timeout, I'm clapping horse shit. A whole different. This is why I say I feel like the powers that be want Georgia to be there. Yes, I agree. I think that Kirby Smart, this is probably his best coaching job ever because he kind of is behind the 8 ball. But I feel like Lane Kiffin is just a 93 octane, locked and loaded.
I agree. Look on paper, Ole Miss should win, but I also thought on paper, Tennessee should have beaten Georgia. They had the quarterback finally, Joey Aguilar. They had Chris Brazell just running wild like Hulkamania back in the 80s. They had everything. And Gunnar Stockton all of a sudden decided to channel like his inner Patrick Mahomes, running around, making plays, running in for touchdowns. You're like, okay, where the hell is this Gunnar Stockton last year? Where did you come from? Who took over your body? Again, we keep. You're making a mistake, and a lot of people are going, "Oh yeah, Lane Kiffin's going to do this." And we've learned before, do not underestimate Kirby Smart. You think he's done for. And then there's always a rabbit out of his ass he's going to pull, where he'll have some sneaky plays. Somehow he'll mask in some secret sauce. The next thing you know, God damn it, they pulled off another upset. How the hell did these guys do it?
I just, when I look at some of the first half against Austin Peay, they were terrible. They struggled to put up 14 points in the first half.
I understand that, and they still beat them, but they still beat Tennessee. This team,
but Tennessee is down their two top cornerbacks. They're playing with their third and fourth string cornerbacks. Hence, 44 points. Like, yes, everybody looks at Joey Aguilar on that put up a great, but their defense is hurting. So I didn't think they were going to go in there and dominate them, and they didn't. I think they should have lost the Alabama game. I think that was on Alabama, not on, you know what I mean? Like, they did lose the Alabama. I'm sorry. The Auburn game. Like, they should have lost that game. They didn't. Certain plays in that game went a different way, but I think they should have lost. I just, looking at the product on the field, it's just not the Georgia that I've been seeing for the past 5, 6, 7 years. And you're all right, Kirby does find a way. If I'm what I'm watching, what I'm seeing out of Ole Miss, what I'm seeing out of Georgia, man, I'm not saying that Georgia's going to be, out of it by the first. I just feel like Ole Miss has. You're looking at a Dodge Charger right now, and you're looking at a Honda Civic. It don't look good.
I understand. I'm just telling you. Once in a while, there's something in that Honda Civic. You just maybe put some nitro in it. Maybe you just add, put it like a rocket in it, and all of a sudden it just out goes past the Dodge Charger. You're like, how the hell did that happen? It makes no sense, but it makes perfect sense. That is Georgia. That is Ole Miss. That is the SEC. Finally, we're going to our last game. It's tradition from our fathers, our grandfathers, our great grandfathers. It's Notre Dame. It's USC. Notre Dame all of a sudden is back in the rise. I wrote them off for dead. Marcus Freeman just rally the troops. And all of a sudden you're going, crap. We thought they were out of the playoffs, but no, they're making a final charge. Once again, this time around, though, it's a USC team that Lincoln Riley, man, he has talent. I mean, you look at that offense for USC and you're going, wait a minute here. Possible 2 first-round wide receivers. He has a quarterback he might, have found who could be pretty damn good in Jaden Maivia, Wayman Jordan. He has some nasty pieces on defense like Eric Gentry, Kamari Ramsey, Anthony Lucas. Who do you favor this game? And if whoever wins, will it say more about USC or more about Notre Dame?
Okay. If USC wins this game, it'll say more for USC. They've been here before and haven't been able to figure it out, right? They're a great offense, but they just lack the defense. Well, it seems right now they have all the pieces to the puzzle. You mentioned Eric Gentry. I think he's the best linebacker on the field come Saturday in this game. I think he's better than any linebacker that Notre Dame has. He's a stud. I think Bishop Fitzgerald can go 1-for-1 with some of the top guys in Notre Dame's sector. They got pieces on this defense, which is crazy because normally USC's defense is trash. It's who's gonna score the last touchdown is probably gonna win the game. And then I'm eating crow this year because for all the times that Lincoln Riley's been a head coach, I've said he's a fraud. Like, yes, he's a great offensive coordinator, he's a great offensive mind, but where in hell did he become this quarterback guru, right? All the guys that he's got came in through the transfer portal and were already kind of established, in my eyes. Yes, Jalen Hurts kind of developed to an extent, but Jaden Maivia was kind of an unproven, not polished quarterback when he transferred over here. And he forced Miller Moss out, and we're seeing Maivia mold himself into a top QB in this game under, the predecessor of Lincoln Riley. Kid's very accurate, throwing the ball all over the field. And the boot, they've gone through 3 running backs this year, and it's not a hiccup. Wayman Jordan, done for the season, or at least 4 to 6 weeks, I believe. Eli Sanders, done for the season. What did they do in that game against Michigan? I'll put King Miller in. Dude goes off for a buck something and a touchdown. Like, everything is clicking for USC. The trench work, they're playing physical. This is everything for Notre Dame, because if they lose it, it's over. It's done. The playoff hopes is over. You ain't making. This is the one. And I think this is the one. Just like Ole Miss, I think David gets Goliath. I think we're going to see Lincoln Riley get his over Marcus Freeman. And I think this is the reason why I think you might see the Marcus Freeman Penn State situation happen. Notre Dame's not in the playoff. We're going to see some angry people. And here comes Penn State knocking the door. Give me USC to win this one. And I think USC is back as a annual contender in the playoff. I think they figured it out. I think the recruiting class is coming. Makai Lemon is the best receiver on the field. Makai Lemon is top 2 wide receiver in this class. He is a dude. It was supposed to be Jacoby Lane. Makai Lemon said, "Yeah, my man, hold my beer." You're looking at Amon St. Brown 2.0 right here. With a better set of hands, if that's even possible. Makai Lemon is a stud. I think the way that they're grooving right now, I think, they brought over the DC last year from UCLA, and he's kind of revived that defense, made them, physical up front, made them not be, Swiss cheese. I like what USC is bringing to the table. CJ Carr is playing out of his mind, absolutely out of his mind. And we, I love Jeremiah Love and Jaden Price. Wayman Jordan was better this year. I know he's not there, but they just continue to plug and play. That offensive line for USC are dogs, and they're playing well. Give me USC to cover.
I want to agree with you. Again, I want to agree. I am trying to agree. I'm like, okay, I agree. And I look at Notre Dame and I go, yeah, they're 4-2. But as you said, when I said, oh, Notre Dame's god-awful, they're terrible, you're like, hey, no. And then I look and it's like, yeah, they lost to Miami, but man, it was only by a couple points. And it was literally, a field goal, because CJ Carr, this redshirt freshman, was pulling plays out of his ass.
They lost by 1 to A&M.
They lost by 1 point to A&M if the kicker does not miss and slip. Right. Again, I keep thinking, okay, the next game is going to be the 3rd loss. Oh, wait a minute here. Boise State's going to take care of them. No. NC State, they'll take care of them. No. Arkansas, no. So I've given up. So, again, why should I take USC when Marcus Freeman, despite the fact he was not Notre Dame's #1 choice with the fans, despite the fact that Chris Ash has at times been threatened to be hung by his ankles and beaten with a rubber hose for being horrible, despite the fact that, they have a redshirt freshman who does not understand he's not supposed to be this good. They are 15 in the coaches poll, 13 are on a 4-game win streak. And as you said, Marcus Freeman is probably on his way to getting a $15 million a year salary from some team, because he just keeps winning despite the fact we have no idea how the hell he is doing it. Notre Dame last year in the finals of the college football playoffs made 0 sense. Even you said that to me, and yet that happened. I've given up, saying this it's not going to happen anymore with Notre Dame. I'm convinced Marcus Freeman has woo-woo powers somewhere.
Again, I'm looking at the way USC's playing. Yes, they lost to Illinois, which is ugly, but it was a close game. They should have won it. But they, in my eyes, and maybe it was because Justice Hayes got hurt, but they dominated in that game, and they gave Bryce Underwood fits. Right now, if you had to tell me, gun to my head, game on the line, Chris Ash or DeAnthony Lyons, who you taking as a DC to call the right play? I'm going Lions here. So I don't know if it's so much the offense, and which is odd to say because Notre Dame's known for such great, stellar front seven. I just think USC's playing better ball defensively. That game against Michigan opened my eyes up. I'm like, yo, if they can play like this against Michigan, I know Michigan's not a stud team this year, right? But they've been ranked for the majority of the year. They've played some good games against good teams. They were dominant. I think USC can play that same style of ball against Notre Dame. I know it's a home game for Notre Dame, so the crowd's going to be into it. I don't know. There's something about this USC team. Like, they're just not getting enough respect. And I feel like teams like that, it's a little extra oomph on it, you know?
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we love having him on the show because he's not afraid to pull any punches, take any dives, or always deliver some hot takes. I give you once again from college football playoffs or college football nation. I give you Nino Brown. So, Nino, once again, where can fans check you out at? Where's the podcast? Where is the Twitter, the Instagram, the YouTube channel? Where can fans check out more of your work?
You can find me on X at _ Nino Brown _ and then everything I do is pretty much on CFB Nation. Again, all social media platforms, it's the CFB Nation, and then you can check out the website www.thecfbnation.com.
Nino Brown, ladies and gentlemen, once again, always on a pleasure. Have you on the show. We come back. We got a lot more going on only on It's Last Call. Last Call at the Alcohol, only on the lastcallpodcast.com.